My name is Eleanor Vance, but you can call me Ellie. I'm 29 years old. There I stood, in my elegant ivory gown, my hand covering my new husband Leo's as we held the silver knife above our wedding cake. The room was alive with the sound of laughter and warm applause, yet a profound, cold void was spreading through my chest. Not a single member of my own family was among the smiling faces of our guests, only dear friends and my wonderful new in-laws. Just as we pressed the blade into the smooth white frosting, my phone, tucked away in a hidden pocket of my dress, vibrated. The screen lit up. It was a message from my mother. "We need to talk. Now." Beneath that single urgent sentence, the notification banner read, 42 missed calls. A sickening mix of dread and morbid curiosity churned in my stomach. Before we get into that, I'd love to know where you're watching from. And please give this a like if you've ever felt the sting of betrayal from your own flesh and blood. It's a unique kind of pain when the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who inflict the deepest wounds, isn't it? To make any sense of why my family chose to skip my wedding, I have to take you all the way back to the beginning. I grew up in what appeared to be a perfectly ordinary suburban home in Michigan, with my parents, Robert and Margaret Vance, and my younger sister, Chloe. To any outsider, we were the picture-perfect American family, complete with coordinated holiday outfits and yearly trips to the lake house. But behind the closed doors of our pristine home, I often felt like the family's emotional ghost. Chloe, 3 years my junior, seemed to have been born wearing an invisible crown. With her sun-kissed blonde hair, an infectious dimpled grin, and a personality that glittered, she was the sunshine child that everyone naturally gravitated towards. She was a gifted dancer, a talented singer, and possessed a magnetic charm that effortlessly drew people into her orbit. I was never jealous of her talents or her inherent beauty. What carved a hole in me was the stark, undeniable difference in how our parents treated us. "Mom, I got into the advanced engineering program," I announced one evening during my sophomore year of high school, my hands clutching the acceptance letter so tightly the paper crinkled. Mom glanced up from the intricate beading she was sewing onto one of Chloe's stage costumes. "Oh, that's wonderful, dear. Just put the letter on the kitchen counter so your father can see it when he gets home." Her attention immediately returned to the shimmering fabric. But when Chloe won second runner-up in a regional theater competition that very same week, our parents threw a celebratory dinner at the fanciest restaurant in town. They ordered a bottle of expensive champagne for themselves and raised a toast to our little star. I quietly stirred my risotto, feeling invisible, wondering what grand achievement I would need to accomplish to ever be worthy of a toast. My parents missed my high school graduation. It wasn't just any graduation. I was the valedictorian. But Chloe had a major dance recital that same afternoon. You understand, don't you, Ellie? This is a huge opportunity for her career, my mother explained, her tone leaving no room for argument when I dared to express my disappointment. I said I understood, of course, but understanding didn't soothe the ache of looking out at the crowd from the podium and seeing 2 empty chairs where my parents should have been. By the time I left for college, I had reluctantly accepted my designated place in the family's pecking order. I stopped calling home as often, knowing that any conversation would inevitably circle back to Chloe's latest triumph. I carved out a life for myself, found friends who saw me and valued me for who I was, and poured all my energy into my studies, determined to build a successful career in architectural engineering. For my senior year of college, when I was set to graduate summa cum laude, my parents swore they would be there. I reserved 4 seats in the grand auditorium, 2 for them, 1 for Chloe, and 1 for my best friend, Maya. On the morning of the ceremony, I received a text from my mother. "Chloe landed a call back for a big commercial. We have to drive her to New York right away. So proud of you, honey. Send us pictures." That day, only Maya's seat was filled. Maya became the family I chose for myself. We'd met during our freshman orientation week and had been inseparable ever since. She was studying psychology, and her insightful, empathetic nature was a soothing balm to the wounds my own family continually inflicted. After graduation, we both landed jobs in Chicago and became roommates for 3 years. She was the one who held me as I cried after a particularly painful holiday visit. And she was the one who never forgot to call on my birthday, when my own parents did. She saw the dysfunction firsthand and never made me feel like I was overreacting. I met Leo Harrison at a mutual friend's 30th birthday party when I was 27. He was tall, with warm, intelligent brown eyes and a laugh that seemed to light up the entire room. On our third date, I found myself confiding in him about my family situation, bracing myself for the usual pitying glances and awkward platitudes. Instead, Leo reached across the small cafe table and took my hand in his. "That's not normal, Ellie," he said, his voice firm but gentle. "That is not okay. You deserve so much more from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally." No one had ever validated my feelings so directly. For years, a part of me had wondered if I was the problem. Too sensitive, too needy, too selfish for wanting a sliver of the attention that flowed so freely to Chloe. Leo helped me see that my pain was valid and the dynamics in my family were genuinely toxic. As our relationship deepened, Leo gently encouraged me to establish boundaries. "You can't change them," he would often say, "but you can change how you let their actions affect you." He suggested I talk to a professional, which I finally did. My therapist, Dr. Albright, was instrumental in helping me understand the concept of emotional neglect and how it had insidiously shaped my sense of self-worth. I began to practice what she termed radical acceptance of my family's limitations. It meant lowering my expectations to align with reality rather than clinging to the fantasy that they might one day wake up and give me the recognition I had craved for a lifetime. It was a painful, grieving process, but it was also incredibly liberating. I stopped trying to earn their love and started focusing on building a life that brought me genuine joy. Leo was my anchor through it all. His family welcomed me with open arms from our very first visit to their home in Wisconsin. His mother, Diane, started calling me just to chat. His father, Tom, would email me articles about innovative building designs he thought I'd find interesting. His sister, Olivia, became the sibling I had always yearned for. "You're one of us now," Diane told me during my second visit, her hand on my shoulder. "And in this family, we celebrate everyone's successes, big and small." I wept in the guest bathroom that night, overwhelmed by a simple kindness that felt so foreign. Leo found me there and just held me. No words needed. He understood. With therapy, Leo's unwavering support, and my own growing resolve, I promised myself I would stop measuring my worth by my family's inability to see it. I would forge my own happiness. And most importantly, I would break the cycle. Little did I know how severely that resolve was about to be tested. Leo proposed on our 2-year anniversary at the little independent cinema where we had our first date. Halfway through the film, the screen went dark and a custom-made trailer began to play, a montage of our life together, set to our favorite song. When the house lights came up, Leo was on one knee, holding out a simple, elegant ring. "Eleanor Vance," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You are the most brilliant, resilient, and kind-hearted woman I have ever known. Will you marry me?" Through a blur of happy tears, I said yes, and the entire theater erupted in applause. It was perfect. That night, as we celebrated in our apartment, the familiar knot of anxiety began to tighten in my stomach. I had to tell my family. "They'll be happy for you," Leo assured me, though a slight hesitation in his voice told me he wasn't entirely convinced. I called them the next day. My mother answered on the 4th ring. "Hi, Mom. I have some news. Leo proposed last night. We're engaged." The pause that followed lasted just a fraction of a second too long. "Oh, that's good. Congratulations." There was no excitement, no questions about the proposal, no offer to celebrate. "We're thinking of a fall wedding," I pressed on, desperate for a spark of enthusiasm. Maybe in about 6 months. That's quite soon. Well, let us know the details once you figure them out. Another beat of silence. By the way, Chloe just landed the lead in a major community theater production of Chicago. We're just so proud of her. And just like that, my engagement was eclipsed. Despite the chillingly lukewarm response, Leo and I moved forward with our wedding plans. We chose a beautiful, historic venue in Evanston for a small ceremony with about 70 guests. We wanted something intimate and meaningful. We picked out the flowers, peonies and eucalyptus, selected a caterer known for incredible modern American cuisine, and hired a photographer whose portfolio was filled with the kind of candid, joyful moments we wanted to remember forever. 4 months before the wedding, we sent out the invitations, including ones to my parents, Chloe, and a few other relatives. Weeks crawled by with no RSVP from anyone in my family. I finally broke down and called my mother, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. "Mom, did you get the invitation? The venue needs a final head count. Oh yes, we got it. Your father and I have been meaning to call. We'll certainly do our best to be there, of course, but you know how hectic things can get." "It's my wedding day," I said, my voice strained. "I would really, really like for you all to be there. Of course, honey, we'll try." Every subsequent conversation was a carbon copy of the last. They would promise to attend but deflect any and all attempts to involve them in the planning. When I asked my father if he would do the traditional father-daughter dance with me, he mumbled something about having to check his schedule. Through it all, Maya was my rock. She embraced her role as maid of honor with a fierce dedication that almost made up for my family's apathy. She threw me a beautiful bridal shower, helped me find the perfect dress, and listened patiently as I vented my frustrations. "They'll come around," she would assure me. "And if they don't, I will be right there with you every second of the day." You are not alone, Ellie. Leo's family, too, was extraordinary. His mother helped with the seating chart, and his father insisted on contributing to the costs. Olivia threw me a second bridal shower with all of Leo's relatives, making me feel so completely cherished. Still, a naive, childish part of me held out hope. Surely my wedding day would be the one event they wouldn't miss. This one milestone had to be important enough to command their full, undivided attention. I focused on the people who were showing up for me, clinging to Maya's words like a mantra. "This day is about you and Leo. Everything else is just noise." I never could have imagined the cacophony of betrayal that was about to erupt. 2 weeks before my wedding, I was mindlessly scrolling through Instagram during my lunch break when my thumb froze. A photo made my heart plummet into my stomach. It was Chloe, beaming, her left hand held up to the camera to showcase a massive, glittering diamond ring. The caption read, "He put a ring on it. Engaged future Mrs. Archer star." I stared at the screen, my mind refusing to process the image. Chloe was engaged to Dylan Archer, a guy she'd been dating for less than 6 months, and nobody had bothered to tell me. The comments were a flood of congratulations, including several from my parents. My mother's read, "So incredibly happy for my beautiful baby girl. Can't wait to celebrate this weekend." My hands were shaking as I dialed my mother's number. She answered on the second ring, her voice bright and cheerful until she heard my voice. "Ellie, is everything all right? I'm a bit tied up at the moment." "Chloe's engaged?" I asked, my voice a strangled whisper. A beat of silence. "Oh, you saw the post. Yes, Dylan proposed last weekend. It was incredibly romantic. He took her to—" "Why didn't anyone tell me?" I cut in. "Well, honey, you've been so wrapped up in your own wedding plans. We didn't want to bother you." Something about her tone felt disingenuous. "Mom, what's this about celebrating this weekend? My wedding is in 2 weeks." Another longer pause. "Right. Well, Chloe is having a small engagement party on Saturday. Just family and close friends." "This Saturday?" The floor seemed to drop out from under me. "But that's my wedding day." "Is it?" "Oh dear, I could have sworn your wedding was the following weekend." Her voice was laced with a false, saccharine confusion. Chloe has had this date set for her party for a little while now. How could she have planned it weeks ago when she just got engaged last weekend? I challenged, logic cutting through my shock. Well, they knew it was coming. They just made it official, my mother stammered. Then her voice hardened into an irritatingly reasonable tone. Honey, would it be possible for you and Leo to just reschedule? We've already put down deposits for Chloe's party, and all the guests have made travel plans. The request was so monstrously, breathtakingly cruel that I was rendered speechless. Reschedule my entire wedding. Vendors booked, contracts signed, guests flying in. Because my sister decided to throw herself an engagement party on the same day. No, Mom, we cannot reschedule our wedding. Well, she sighed, as if I were the one being difficult. I suppose we'll have to figure something out, but you know how important this is for Chloe, and I've been planning my wedding for 6 months, I shot back, my voice rising despite my best efforts to remain calm. You all RSVP'd, yes. Dad is supposed to walk me down the aisle. We'll try to make it to a part of your ceremony, she offered, as if it were a grand compromise. Maybe we can split our time. I ended the call, too stunned and hurt to speak further. I immediately called Maya, who was appropriately incandescent with rage on my behalf. That is certifiably insane, she fumed. They can't expect you to reschedule for an engagement party. What do you want to do? I don't know, I whispered, fighting back tears at my desk. You do nothing, she said firmly. You have your beautiful wedding exactly as planned. If they choose Chloe's party over your wedding, that is a reflection of who they are, not who you are. And I will be right there with you, I promise. Leo was just as supportive, though I saw a flash of pure fury in his eyes before he masked it for my sake. They're making a choice, Ellie, he said softly that evening, and it's a terrible one. Our wedding will be amazing because we will be surrounded by people who truly love us. But what if none of them come? I asked, the fear a lead weight in my gut. Then we still get married, he said, pulling me into his arms. And we will still have the best day of our lives, because we'll have each other. I texted Chloe directly. Congratulations on your engagement. I wish you'd told me personally. Is there any way you could move your party? I would love for you to be at my wedding. Her reply came hours later. Vex, Sry, everything's already set for the party. Maybe you can swing by for a bit after your reception. It's gonna be epic. The casual cruelty of it was the final blow. I didn't reply. Over the next few days, my mother sent a few texts that made it agonizingly clear where their priorities lay. The last one read, "We'll try to stop by your ceremony if we can get away from the party setup. Hope you understand. Family comes first." The irony was a bitter pill to swallow. In their world, Chloe was family. I was just an inconvenient scheduling conflict. The day before my wedding, at the rehearsal, the beautiful historic venue felt like a film set for a tragedy. The late afternoon sun streamed through the arched windows, but all I could see was the empty space where my family should have been. Leo's family arrived, all smiles and hugs. At 5:30, with no word from my parents or Chloe, we began without them. As we were finishing, my phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Busy with prep for Chloe's party tomorrow. Good luck with the rehearsal. Love you. I shoved the phone away, but Leo saw my face. They're not coming, are they? He asked quietly. No, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. They're busy. The rehearsal dinner was a lovely affair hosted by Leo's parents, but the empty place cards with my family's names felt like tiny tombstones. I made it through the appetizers before excusing myself to the restroom, where I splashed cold water on my face and willed myself not to cry. When I returned, Leo's mother had discreetly removed the place cards and rearranged the seating. She gave me a small conspiratorial wink, and I felt a surge of gratitude so intense it almost buckled my knees. Tomorrow will be perfect, Maya whispered as we left, giving me a fierce hug. I'll be at your hotel at 9 a.m. sharp with coffee. We're going to make you the most beautiful bride Chicago has ever seen." Back in my hotel room, alone, I tried my father one last time. "Dad," I said when he answered, sounding distracted, I need to know if you're still planning to walk me down the aisle tomorrow." There was a long, heavy pause. "Ellie, I'm sorry. Your mother needs me here to help with Chloe's party. There's just so much to do. More important than your daughter's wedding?" I whispered, the words breaking free before I could stop them. "That's not fair," he said stiffly. "We didn't realize the dates would clash." "There is no clash, Dad," I said, my voice cold. "You made a choice." "I'm sorry you feel that way," he replied, and the line went dead. I sat on the edge of the bed feeling hollowed out, and then a text from Maya. "Hey, just checking in. How are you feeling, bride-to-be?" I managed to type back, "I'm okay. See you in the morning." Her reply came a moment later. "About that. I'm so sorry, but something urgent came up. A family emergency. I might be a little late, but I'll definitely be there before the ceremony. Don't worry." A flicker of unease went through me. Maya was never vague. "Is everything okay?" I texted back. "All good. Just gotta handle it. Get some sleep. Big day." Something felt wrong. I mindlessly opened Instagram to distract myself and saw a new post from Chloe. It was a selfie of her in a sparkling party dress. The caption read, "Final fitting for tomorrow's big celebration. Can't wait to party with everyone who matters." The location tag was a high-end boutique called Bellamy's, the same shop Maya had mentioned she needed to run an errand at earlier in the week. With a sense of mounting dread, I tapped the photo to see who had liked it, and there it was, Maya's username. And worse, a comment from her, posted 30 minutes ago, "You look stunning. Can't wait for tomorrow." The betrayal hit me with the force of a physical blow. My best friend, my maid of honor, the one person who swore she wouldn't let me be alone. I called her. It went straight to voicemail. I texted, "I saw Chloe's post and your comment. Are you going to her party instead of my wedding?" The 3 little dots appeared, disappeared, and appeared again. Finally, a message. "I'm so sorry, Ellie. Chloe reached out and said how much it would mean to her if I came. I thought I could do both. I should have told you. I feel awful." I turned off my phone, unable to breathe. I curled up on the bed and let the sobs come, ugly, ragged sounds that tore from my throat. Everyone who was supposed to love me had chosen her. Again, even on my wedding day. I must have cried myself to sleep. The next thing I knew, my phone was ringing insistently, and sunlight was streaming through the curtains. I answered groggily, "Ellie? It's Clara. I'm in the lobby with coffee and bagels. Can I come up?" Clara Matthews, my roommate from junior year of college. We'd stayed in touch, but I hadn't expected her to fly in for the wedding. Sure," I croaked. "Room 312. When I opened the door, Clara's cheerful smile faltered as she saw my tear-ravaged face. "Whoa. Ellie, are you okay?" The simple question shattered my fragile composure. I burst into tears, and between sobs, I told her everything: my family, Chloe's party, Maya's betrayal. When I finished, she looked me straight in the eye. "Okay, first, your family and your ex-best friend are garbage people. Second, I am here, and I am not going anywhere. If you'll have me, I would be honored to be your maid of honor today." "You'd do that?" I asked, stunned. "Absolutely," she said, pulling me into a hug. "Now drink this coffee. We're going to get you married to the love of your life." The morning passed in a whirlwind of determined activity. Clara was a phenomenal maid of honor, anticipating my every need and keeping my spirits up with funny stories from our college days. When I finally stepped into my A-line gown, I almost felt like a bride. Almost. The hollow feeling returned when I realized there was no father waiting to see me. Just then, a soft knock came at the door. It was Leo's father, Tom, looking dapper in his tuxedo. "I hope I'm not intruding," he said, his kind eyes meeting mine. "Leo mentioned that your father..." well, that he might not be here. I would be honored to walk you down the aisle if you'd like. Fresh tears welled in my eyes. I would be honored, Tom. Thank you. He smiled, his own eyes glistening. The honor is all mine, Eleanor. You're already our daughter. Today just makes it official. As we arrived at the venue, my phone remained silent. I handed it to Clara. Hold this for me. I don't want any distractions. Ready? Tom asked, offering his arm as the music began. I nodded, a lump in my throat. I walked down the aisle, my gaze fixed on one person, Leo. The expression on his face when he saw me, a breathtaking mix of awe, love, and absolute adoration, made the whole world melt away. I was vaguely aware of the empty front row, but as Tom placed my hand in Leo's, the pain receded, replaced by the warmth of Leo's love. You look incredible, he whispered. We had written our own vows. Ellie, Leo began, his voice steady. I promise to be your partner and your champion. I promise to celebrate your brilliance and to create a home where you will always know your worth is non-negotiable. You are the strongest person I know. Today, I am not just gaining a wife. I am creating a family with you, where love is never conditional and support is never withheld. I love you, all of you, exactly as you are. The reception was beautiful. The hall filled with the love of our friends and Leo's wonderful family. We had our first dance, and then Tom stepped forward to take my hand for the father-daughter dance. Your family now, he whispered as we swayed to the music. This is what family does. The night progressed with toasts and laughter. I was genuinely enjoying myself, a small miracle. Finally, it was time to cut the cake. As Leo and I stood together, knife in hand, smiling for the photographer, my phone vibrated in the hidden pocket of my dress. I'd retrieved it from Clara earlier. I discreetly checked the screen, a message from my mother. We need to talk now. And below it, the notification, 42 missed calls. From my mother, my father, and even Chloe, all within the last hour. My stomach plummeted. Everything okay? Leo asked, seeing my face. I showed him the phone. Whatever it is, it can wait, he said firmly. But I couldn't shake a feeling of deep unease. I'll just be a minute, I promised, stepping out into the venue's quiet garden. I dialed my mother's number. She answered on the first ring, her voice frantic and choked with tears. Ellie! Oh, thank God. We've been trying to reach you for hours. I was getting married, Mom, I said, the words sharp. What is so urgent? What she said next shattered my entire understanding of the day, of my family, of my entire life. It's Chloe, my mother sobbed. Dylan called off the engagement. In the middle of the party, he said he couldn't marry her after she told him what she did to you. I sank onto a stone bench. What do you mean? What did she do? She lied to us, Ellie. My mother's voice cracked. About everything. She deliberately scheduled her party on your wedding day. She told us that you had changed your wedding date last minute and didn't bother to tell us because you didn't want us there. The world tilted. What? She showed us fake text messages from you, my mother cried. Texts saying you wanted nothing to do with us, that you were having a private ceremony with just Leo's family because they were your real family now. She said you specifically asked us not to come. My hand was trembling. Mom, I never sent anything like that. I have been begging you all to come for weeks. I know that now, she whispered. Dylan confronted her after she made some smug comment about finally being the center of attention. When he pressed her, she broke down and confessed everything. She faked the texts. She deleted your real messages from our phones. She even intercepted the physical invitation. But the biggest question remained. What about Maya? She lied to Maya too. My father's voice cut in, raw with shame. I realized I was on speakerphone. She showed Maya fake texts from you, saying you'd only asked her to be maid of honor out of obligation and had found someone else you liked better. She convinced her it would be less humiliating to come to the engagement party instead. It all clicked into place. a horrifying mosaic of calculated cruelty. "Where is Chloe now?" I asked, my voice numb. "She ran off after Dylan left her. We don't know where she went," my mother wept. "Ellie, we are so sorry. We failed you. I don't expect forgiveness, but we needed you to know the truth." "I have to process this," I said, my mind reeling. "I'm in the middle of my wedding reception." "Of course," my father said quickly. Could we see you? Tonight or tomorrow?" "I'll text you our hotel address," I said finally. "Meet us in the lobby at 11. I told Leo everything. His expression hardened from shock to a cold, quiet fury. "That's not just jealousy, Ellie," he said. "That's monstrous. We agreed I needed to face them." At 11:15, my parents arrived at the hotel looking wrecked. We found a small, empty meeting room. "Why was it so easy for you to believe I'd exclude you?" I asked, the question tearing from my heart. My father looked at the floor. "The truth is, we knew we hadn't been good parents to you, Ellie. We favored Chloe, we missed your milestones. When she told us you didn't want us at your wedding, a part of us believed it because we felt we deserved it." "We were cowards," my mother admitted. "It was easier to believe her lie than to face how badly we had failed you." The conversation was agonizing but necessary. There was no magical hug that erased 2 decades of hurt. But it was a start. A door had cracked open. 6 months passed. Our honeymoon in Greece was a healing balm. When we returned, the real work began. My parents were in therapy. I agreed to family sessions. It was hard, but we were finally talking. Chloe had resurfaced a few days after the wedding. She was also in therapy. It took 2 months before I could face her. We met at a cafe. She looked smaller, stripped of her usual sparkle. "It was jealousy," she whispered, not as an excuse, but as a diagnosis. "Mom and Dad always praised me, but they always compared me to you. Why can't you be more focused like Ellie? You were authentic. You built a real life. I just performed. When you got engaged, I saw how happy you were, and I wanted to smash it. It was ugly, and I am so sorry." The path to reconciliation with Maya was even harder. Her betrayal felt more personal. We started with coffee, slowly rebuilding the trust Chloe had shattered. It wasn't the same, but it was something. Clara, my wedding day savior, became one of my closest friends. On our first anniversary, Leo and I hosted a small dinner party. My parents came. Chloe came, quiet and thoughtful. During dinner, Leo clinked his glass. He looked at me, his eyes shining. "Ellie and I have some news," he announced, taking my hand. "We're expecting. The baby is due in June." The room erupted in genuine joy. My mother cried happy tears. My father beamed, and Chloe gave me a gentle hug, whispering, "You're going to be an amazing mom." Later that night, as Leo and I cleaned up, he asked, "Are you happy with how things are now?" I thought for a moment. "I'm at peace with it," I said. "It's not a fairy tale ending, but it's real. We're building something healthier." I placed a hand on my stomach, and our child will grow up knowing without a single doubt that they are loved. We broke the cycle. The journey had been excruciating, but from that heartbreak came a strength I never knew I possessed. Sometimes a foundation has to crumble completely before you can rebuild it, stronger than ever before. Have you ever had to rebuild trust with someone who hurt you deeply? How did you manage to find the balance between forgiveness and self-protection? I'd love to read about your experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more. Thank you for listening. Remember, healing isn't about the scars disappearing. It's about learning to see them as a testament to the fact that you survived and emerged stronger on the other side. End of story.